Hi everybody. So I am back in Salisbury. If you were not aware, I had moved away from Salisbury to Concord, Kannapolis area to get a job at Home Depot. I stayed there for maybe 6 months after leaving here. I had been living in my dad's shop, where if you go back and watch my very first videos, that's where I first started making videos at. I was living in his shop, working for him, and I left. The primary reason for me leaving was to start hormone replacement therapy and do it in a place where I felt like I had job security. Now, some people would say, your dad would not fire you, or that kind of thing, but I didn't agree. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. He's never actually fired me before, but it has come to the point where it felt like me leaving was the best thing for both of us. So, and I didn't want to be in that position. I certainly didn't want to be in the position where I was negatively affecting his business, in the pursuit of my own happiness. And so it was a there wasn't like a lot of, there was some negativity there when I left. There was a bit of resentment and that sort of thing, but it was largely just the hormone issue. I mean, for me, it was enough for me to leave. Because I asked him, I said, I'm going to start hormones. I said, are you okay with me starting that and working for you? And he said, I can't promise you that because I don't know how it will change you. I said, well, that's, I get that, but I need a little bit more certainty. I want to get through this transition, and I don't want to be worried about, well, am I going to be able to keep this job or not? So that was kind of the main motive to go to Home Depot. The problem with working at Home Depot straight out of the gate was I wasn't making any money. I was not making enough money to survive. I take that back. Oh yeah, I wasn't really. I maxed out all my credit cards. This may not be the best place to make a video. I'm right beside a kind of a main road over here, very busy road, Drake Alexander Boulevard. I'm in Salisbury, North Carolina, sitting in the Food Lion parking lot, with my door wide open, just in the interest of being out, being where people can see me, that sort of thing. I do have my breasts with me. Is that a good shot? You can't really see them on this shirt. Kinda. Anyways. So maybe I do wonder about what you might call the battle that I have to fight. People often describe love as being a battlefield, and I take that essentially to mean the same thing, that when Buddhists describe themselves as peaceful warriors, that's basically what they're saying. They're talking about this. You're trying to get to that place in yourself where you can love yourself and everybody else, right? That by loving yourself, you then can love other people. They say you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. So you love yourself, but that is a battle. It's not just loving other people that's a battle, it's also a battle to love yourself. So that's why, like the Tao Te Ching says, a man who conquers 1,000 people is strong, but a man who conquers himself is truly powerful. So you're fighting a fight in a certain way against yourself. And you could say, well, I could do that anywhere in the world. I don't have to do it here in Salisbury. But yet, in some way, it seems like that is the appropriate thing for me to do. And that's because I largely associate Salisbury with me getting stuck in my cage in the first place. Now, that's not entirely true, it's just a large part of it. Because I would say that I was in a cage from the time I was a small child. When I was living with my mother in Chapel Hill, I had already gotten put into a cage. I was already feeling lost. I felt like I had no confidence in my own internal moral compass. And when I say moral, I don't necessarily mean right and wrong, but just more like what I should be doing, if that makes sense. Like you might say my own concept of even just my own will, if that makes sense. There may be some conflation between will and moral, which is not just from me, that's also from Christianity, where God's word is associated with his will, but it's also associated with his, this is what's right and this is what's wrong. So God's word is his will and it is his law. Right? So that's where I'm saying in my own life, I at the very young age, I had already lost confidence in that. You might call it my own internal logos. I had lost faith in it, and that's what I mean when I say that I was in a cage. That I was essentially, you might say, it was that internal logos that was in a cage, that I had basically put that down in the basement of my mind and just locked the door and said, shut up, I don't want to look at you, I don't want to listen to you, I need to listen to these people, my mother especially, other people who are telling me kind of, how I need to live my life. And that sort of thing. Because with my mother, there was what I remember was being at odds with her for our time together. I don't remember spending time with my mother and never thinking like we're having a good time together as a child. I don't remember like hugging her and feeling like this feels good or stuff like that. It was, what I remember was arguing with her, feeling like she was condescending towards me, trying to make me feel inferior, that sort of thing, trying to make me feel like my brother was better than me, that sort of thing. And but I can't go back to that. I can't go back to that situation because I would have to go back in time to do that. I could try to force a relationship with my mother, but she's not interested in that. So I'll take that back. My mother is not interested in a relationship, and I could try to force that, but I feel like that's not the battle that I have to fight, necessarily. So, what is the battle that I have to fight? I don't really know. I mean, if I were to take that phrase that I just mentioned from the Tao Te Ching, that the man who conquers himself is truly powerful. What does that mean? Does this place have anything to do with that? I think it does, and I don't know. I'm just throwing out an idea here. But what I feel like is that if I don't resolve my issue here, then I can't resolve it somewhere else. Maybe I could, maybe my issue that I've been carrying around was that I was too afraid to be myself here. And the way to resolve that is not to go have the courage to be myself in a place like Atlanta where I would be praised and appreciated and that sort of thing, but to do it here where I could potentially be despised and ridiculed and that sort of thing, rejected. because that somehow I feel like if I'm going to right the things that are kind of wrong in me, that is part of it. If that makes sense, it is. It does. It makes me think of like a movie situation. The movie that comes to mind right now is Star Wars. When Yoda says to Luke Skywalker, I think he says something along the lines of, I know Star Wars fans will crucify me for misquoting Star Wars. I don't know if I'm misquoting. I might have it right. But Yoda says to Luke Skywalker, your destiny is to confront Darth Vader. And this, in some way, is what I'm talking about here. Where I feel like this Salisbury, you might say, is my Darth Vader. So I have to confront Salisbury in order to become the Jedi Master. If that makes sense. Because otherwise, I'm basically just running away, right? I don't know. I don't know. But I thought that one of the things that made me think that was a friend of mine told me don't run away from bad situations. But then when I got the job at Home Depot, I think I mentioned that at the very beginning of this video, that I left here to go get the job at Home Depot. And there was a manager there that I really liked. I liked talking to him, and one day I was talking to him about something, and he started like walking away, kind of like, not like to leave the conversation, but because he had things that he was working on, and and so I started walking with him. And we were talking as we were walking, and then he kind of veered off or whatever, and I had kept on going the way I was going. And he said to me, "Stop running away." And I was like, did he mean, was he talking literally? Like, was he saying that, me walking straight when he turned? Is that what he meant? Did he mean to say that I was running away then? Or did he somehow, maybe not intentionally, but pick up wind of this idea that I had when I moved to Salisbury to get the job, or moved away from Salisbury to get the job at Home Depot, that I was basically just running away. And like I said, maybe it wasn't something he did intentionally. Maybe just in his unconscious mind, he picked up that breeze that said this person is running away from something they're running away from their Darth Vader that they have to face. And this could be me talking up my butt. This could be me just talking too much, psychological mumbo jumbo that I don't really know anything about. It could just be me making, something dramatic out of something that's not real. It could be true that I could go anywhere in the world to find myself, right? If I'm trying to find myself, if I'm trying to conquer myself, however you want to look at it, fight the battle inside, I could probably do that anywhere in the world. But it does feel like there is something very appropriate about me fighting that battle here, because I do associate this place with my depression. Anytime I leave Salisbury and I come back, it's like I see my depression here. It's like I just see it when I drive around. I'm sitting in this parking lot here. So many times I've driven by this Food Lion parking lot, this area. You see like gas stations over here. There's a gas station there, a gas station there. Another shopping center down there. Some shopping centers up here. Some of those aren't really shopping centers. I think those are like a medical suite. But so many times I've driven through here, and when I drive through here, it's just like, it just takes me back to that depressive state of I can't be myself. It's not safe for me to be myself. This is I don't remember if I said it in this video or not, because I was recording this before my video got cut short because I ran out of storage space. So I went and deleted a bunch of videos, and then started over again. And I'm trying to remember what I've said in this one, and what I haven't said in this one. But I left Salisbury in 1994 to go to NC State. And as soon as I got to NC State, I felt like I had stepped out of a cage. That's what I felt like. I mean, it was like within the very first week I started to feel that way. I wouldn't say it wasn't like as soon as I got to campus, but it was once I started meeting people, spending time with people there. I stayed in the dorm room, and I was spending a lot of time with people in my suite in the dorm room. And there was one guy in particular there who made me feel free. He was very just open-minded. He was the most open-minded person I'd ever met. Maybe the most open-minded I have ever met. And, well, no, I take that back. But just being around him made me feel like it's okay to be myself. It's okay to be a freak. It's okay to be a weirdo. So if I want to wear a shirt like this, there's no issue with that. If I want to put makeup on, he probably would have liked that. He might have wanted to kiss me. But it was also then that I started drinking and using drugs, and in that kind of environment with those I don't want to say stimulants, but with those things that are kind of known to help people get out of their shell, to break that shell open. In that environment, it was the right combination at the right time, and I just started coming out of my shell and becoming sociable and talking to people, spending time with people, which was not something that I was doing before. In high school, I didn't talk to anybody. I was really, my main interest then was playing video games. That was kind of my big thing. Didn't go to parties in high school. Didn't like I said, didn't really talk to anybody. Didn't have friends. So when I got to NC State, all that changed. Now, NC State is not in this area. It is like a two hours away from here. NC State is in Raleigh, North Carolina. I live in Salisbury, about 2 hours away. And so I was away from, not only was I away from people that I knew, but I was in a different type of environment. Like this, Salisbury is a very small, conservative town compared to a place like Raleigh. Compared to the surrounding area, Salisbury might be considered liberal. Like if you were to compare Salisbury to, say, a town like China Grove, Salisbury might be considered liberal. But if you compare Salisbury to a place like Raleigh or Chapel Hill, Salisbury would be considered quite conservative and a redneck town, you know, a poor redneck town. Even though there is a lot of money here, there's a lot of money in Salisbury, but it's still, you wouldn't think that if you came here. Because it looks like a dump. But, so I was at NC State for a year and a half. It was at NC State that I realized my first attraction for a man. So that's when I kind of started my questioning over whether I was gay, straight, bisexual, that sort of thing. And when I came back to Salisbury, that became a very sore point in my life. I felt like Salisbury was just not a good place to go through that. I felt like I had nobody to talk to here about that. My own family, I felt like I could not talk to them about it. On occasion, I would meet girls who I felt like I could talk to about it. The first person I ever came out to as gay, I was a girl who I was having sex with. So, yeah. In that case, even though I was having sex with her, I told her I was gay just because it felt better to say that I was gay than to say I was bisexual, because I felt like saying I'm bi is not much of a confession, if that makes sense. It's like if there was any shame around like who I am, there would be more shame for me to be gay than to be bisexual. So I sometimes think that that's what I do with the trans thing, where I feel like there is more shame around the idea of being trans, so I say that's what I am, just because it feels better, just to kind of own that, and to just say this shameful thing, I'm taking ownership of this and saying this is who I am, even if I'm not really sure that's what I am. So, in the same way that when I said I was gay to her, I wasn't, like I said, I was having sex with her and I enjoyed it. So am I really gay? Jesus Christ. But yeah, I came back to Salisbury from NC State, and I basically went back into my cage. I had been living in a cage when I was here before NC State, and started to come out of my cage there, but then when I moved back here, I had to go back into my cage again. I didn't have to. I felt like I had to, because I felt like that was the only way to get along. That was the only way to manage living in this environment, was just to live like a soldier in enemy territory. Basically, it's like, say I'm an American and I'm going to fight in World War II, and I end up in a German army base. So in order to not get captured, I steal a German's uniform, and I'm living in this German army base, as basically a fraud. Which was how I felt living here. I felt like I was constantly fake. Like I was just faking my way through life. Felt like I just could not reveal myself. I felt like if I revealed myself, I would be caught. I would be rejected, ridiculed, despised, whatever. And that is why I moved to Atlanta when I first came out as trans. I came out as trans here in Salisbury, and that's the reaction that I feared is the reaction that I got. So like I was talking about the fear of being ridiculed and rejected and that sort of thing. I got arrested twice in women's clothing when after I first came out as trans. I was going out in the public in women's clothing, in wigs and makeup and that sort of thing. I got arrested twice. Not just because I was in women's clothing, but had I been dressed as a man, I would say that I would not have been arrested. I mean, how many men have been arrested in Salisbury for going to Waffle House drunk? How many women have been arrested in Salisbury for going to Waffle House drunk? Who has ever been arrested for going to Waffle House drunk? Unless you were causing a ruckus or a fight, if you were bothering people by being too loud, being obnoxious, cussing or fighting or that kind of thing, yeah, that makes sense. But if you're just sitting at a table drinking coffee, minding your own business, how many people have been arrested for that? For being drunk in the Waffle House? Because maybe you stumbled when you came out of the bathroom. Somebody saw you and said, hey, that person's drunk. They can't be in here drunk. You can't be in a Waffle House drunk. Who has ever heard of that? So that was one occasion. But in general, things just were not going well. Things were basically just saying, this is not the place for you to be yourself. This is not the place. So I moved to Atlanta. Plus, with my family, they were not accepting. And the constant fights with my father, that sort of thing. I was working for him then too. And so I just felt like, Atlanta is the place for me to go to find myself, just to be in a supportive environment. And it helped. That was because I found supportive environments. I was very active in looking for groups to participate in. I went to reading groups, spirituality groups, AA groups, NA groups, transgender support groups, church. I went to churches. I went to several churches. I went to an existentialist church, a Baptist church, a non-denominational church. Oh, me. And stuff like that. And in that, through doing that, I found a very supportive environment. But I did also feel like I was somehow not hitting the mark, so to speak. Oh my God. But now that I'm back in Salisbury and I'm taking the hormones here, I do feel in some way more like now I am hitting the mark, because I feel like, almost like, if there's a dragon that I have to slay, then it's here. If that makes sense. I don't know how else to put it. But it's like, if I can't be okay with myself here, the place that I associate with my oppression, then I can't really be okay with myself anywhere. That's kind of how I see it. Like, if I need a supportive environment just for me to be okay with myself, then I'm in trouble, because the world is not going to support me. And also, on that note, I feel like with a lot of trans people, their objective is to get other people to accept them. It's like, if they get misgendered or whatever, they freak out and they're like, you misgendered me. As though the other person's acceptance is somehow, of primary importance, rather than the trans person accepting their own self. Because if you accept your own self, do you really need other people to show you the respect that you feel like you deserve? I'm not saying you should not demand respect or that sort of thing. That's not what I'm saying. You can't be dependent on it. If your day is ruined because somebody misgendered you, then you are dependent on other people for validation of who you are as a person. And that is kind of why I feel like if I'm going to slay that dragon, it has to be here, and it's because of that. Because I feel like if I can't self-validate in a place like this, then I see my case as being hopeless to some degree. Like, I don't want to have to be just around people who validate my existence. I don't want to have to do that to be content in life. So I do feel like this is the, if Yoda were talking to me right now, and he were, like he was telling Luke Skywalker, your destiny is to go confront Vader, he would be telling me, your destiny is to go confront Salisbury. So, you need to face Salisbury, the place that you associate with your being in a cage, your oppression, your depression. And these guys are going fishing. It's a good idea. I think maybe I should go fishing. catch some fish. What would I do? I don't have a refrigerator. Where would I put them? Oh, me. But yeah. Oh, my back's hurting, fellas. Folks and fellas and femmes. That I just made up my own southern ladies and gentlemen. Instead of ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say fellas and femmes. No, femmes and fellas. Fellas and femmes. I think people might not understand what I was saying. Fellas and females. No, maybe. Females and fellas. I don't know. Felix's felines. Fellas and felines. How about that? What is a fella? Fellow. Fellas and felines. Cats. Fellas and cats. Which is another way of saying fellas and vaginas. Fellas and vaginas. Fellas and pussycats. Fellas and felines. I kind of like that one. Confronting Salisbury. Maybe that should be the name of a book. Sounds like the name of a book, doesn't it? Confronting Salisbury. I think maybe it should be the title of my video. Confronting Salisbury. A day in the life of a tranny. A day in the life. That was so much quieter in here. This van is so quiet. It does very good to block out noise, even though I have a tarp in the back there. You know, for a back window. I don't have glass. If I had glass, I would put some insulation up in it. And I'd go get my swamp cooler that I made and stick it back there in the back and have some AC in this bitch. That's how the youngsters talk in Salisbury. Get some AC in this bitch. Some of them do. Some of them don't. How do people talk in Salisbury? They don't talk like the real Southern accent. They don't have the real Southern accent in Salisbury. They have a kind of, well, Salisbury is kind of a mixture of people. There's people come up here from the north. People might say down here from the north, but it's really up, right? We're upwards of the north, right? So people come up here from the north because they like the warmer climates and the lower taxes, because we have lower property taxes and income taxes and all that stuff here. And supposedly it's a friendlier place. Supposedly, if you're not a freak, if you're not a weirdo, if you drive a pickup truck and you got a loud pickup truck that makes a lot of noise when you drive it, it sounds like somebody farting as you're driving down the road. You might fit in here. If you own your own construction company or landscaping company, you might fit in here. If you say, I want to build a temple to Aphrodite, where men dress as women and there's prostitutes in the temple who stay there 24/7, maybe not the same person, they have a rotating shift or something, you know, but that what we'll call the prostitutes sacred prostitutes. Sacred prostitutes. Some of them will be she-males. That'd be women with penises. Someone who has a breast and penis is a nice feminine ass. They stay in the temple and they have sex to get people closer to God. But we won't say we're getting you closer to God. We'll say we're getting you closer to Aphrodite. Aphrodite is your goddess. We're going to bring you closer to your goddess, Aphrodite, because she loves you. She's a whore. She is a total slut. She has sex with anybody. Her legs will just stay wide open. She don't even walk. She just stays up in heaven with her legs spread like this. She's like, come give it to me. Come give it to me. I want to give you something. I want to give you my love. And she does that through her priests and her priestesses. So if you say that to people here, they're going to be like, what the fuck? You're some kind of liberal comment weirdo. You got to be a communist. You got to be a communist. Talking about God being a slut, giving it to everybody. God is a slut. God is a slut. God loves everybody. God don't deny his vagina to nobody. Anybody who wants God's vagina can have it. But God has a penis too, so God has a penis and a vagina. Do you believe that? God's got tits. One side of his body is a tit. The other side of his body has a big old peck, like Superman. But it's the side of the tit that carries the battle axe. The side with his Superman arm, that's where he that's his loving hand. His gentle hand. So he's all backwards. He's all backwards. Or she's all backwards. I'm sorry. She is all backwards. Is he a she? Is God a he, she? A she, he? A she male? A hermaphrodite? If I told people in Salisbury that God is a hermaphrodite, would they say, you're fucked up in the head? You are fucked up in the head. What kind of crazy shit are you talking? God is a man. God is a man. What, don't you know the Bible says that? The Bible doesn't say God is a man. The Bible doesn't say nothing about God being a man. The Bible says God created humanity in his image. And people will say, that's not what it says. It says God created man in his image. But man there means mankind. It means humanity. It doesn't mean Adam, the first man. Even though the word is Adam, right? In the original Hebrew, the word is Adam. But it means, what does Adam mean? It means man, right? But it doesn't just mean a male. It means also mankind, which is humanity. So it also means human. So So the Bible says God created humanity in his image. He created them male and female. That's what it says. God created humanity in his image. Male and female. Which means what? The image of God is male and female. That's what that means. That's why the Bible goes in the creation of the universe in a series of separations, right? God separated the light from the darkness. In it, even before that, it was the Spirit of God in the deep. The Spirit of God in the deep are the male and female progenitors of the universe. The Spirit of God is the male half, and the deep is the female half, right? God didn't just create the universe out of nothing. God created the universe out of the deep. God spoke into the deep, and his word got up inside the deep like it was a vagina and impregnated the deep. Right? That's why ancient people said that it was through sex that the universe was created. It was the male half of God and the female half of God having sex to give birth to the universe. Right? That's why they say God is a hermaphrodite. God is male and female, and mankind was created in God's image. So, yeah. So, let's get some AC up in this bitch, Salisbury, and we're gonna start a revolution here. We're gonna say God is a hermaphrodite right here in Salisbury, North Carolina. I'm gonna build a temple to Aphrodite and her child Hermaphrodite. Did you know that Hermaphrodite is the child of Hermes and Aphrodite? That's where that name comes from. Hermes and Aphrodite had a baby boy. They called him Hermaphrodite. He was born a boy, but then a girl fell in love with him, and the gods decided that the boy and the girl should become one. So that the new person, the boy and the girl combined, was part boy, part girl. So now hermaphrodite refers to somebody who is part boy, part girl, which is what God is. So the temple to Aphrodite, people might say it's a temple to a goddess, but it's really a temple to hermaphrodite. Temple to Hermaphrodite. And people will say Salisbury's getting freaky. Salisbury, what kind of weird shit? What kind of weird shit is going on in this conservative little hick town? Salisbury, they got a temple to a hermaphrodite deity. What the fuck is happening in America? It's got to be that tranny. There's that tranny kid in Salisbury. It's causing a revolution. The temple to Hermaphrodite. Maybe that's what I should call it. The temple to Hermaphrodite. And what would the religion be? Sacred prostitution. You want to become an adherent to the religion of the new religion of Aphrodite? You got to be willing to be a prostitute. You got to prostitute yourself at least once in your life. That's what they said in ancient Greece. And what was it? I don't know where it was in ancient Greece. If it was in Athens or whatever. But the women had to prostitute themselves at least once to become a woman. And they had to do it at the temple of the goddess. They had to get paid. They had to get paid to have sex with somebody. And the money went to the temple. How about that, Salisbury? You down for that? Are you down for that, Salisbury? When have all the young females prostituting themselves at the temple? I got something in my eye. It's a message, a sign from Allah. He's saying you got a mote in your eye. You need to remove the mote from your eye so you can see clearly. Because I didn't tell you to build a temple to Aphrodite. That's not what I told you. I told you to prostitute yourself. That's all I said. I didn't say nothing about a temple. I think I need a glass of cold water to pour in my eye socket. When people look at me and say this person is some kind of alien, you're some kind of you're from like high above us. I'm like, yeah, I am from high above you. I am from high above you. I will be once I start having sex with Aphrodite, my goddess. I need to have sex with my goddess. My goddess is saying, "Come, give me your penis, boy. I want it nice and soft. I want it to be like a vagina that's been turned inside out. Come give it to me. Come give me your what's the female cow organ, the udder. Come give me your udder. I want your big huge udder, cow udder, and your big cow udder nipples rubbing up against my clit. That's what Aphrodite, my goddess, is saying to me. She's saying, "Come give it to me. I want to feel you inside me, and I want you to feel me inside you." Is that what Aphrodite wants? She wants me for sex. She pricked me out for women's pleasure. She said, "Go be a woman with a penis, because I want you to please women. I want you to give them satisfaction they can't get from a man." Because men are too hard. Sometimes being hard is not the right solution for a woman getting what she wants. Sometimes what she wants is something soft, trustworthy, something caring, and all those qualities you associate with femininity. Sometimes that's what they need. Is that what Aphrodite's saying to me? Go take your inverted vagina out there into the world and give it to all the women in need. Not all women are in need of an inverted vagina on their lover, but some of them are. Some of them are, you might say, are quite hungry for it. They're quite hungry for an inverted vagina to play with, to put in their mouth. They want to put it in their mouth, and they'll say, "God damn it, I love Aphrodite. I love Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the best deity that ever was." It's through Aphrodite that I discovered what love is. That's what we'll say in our religion. You want to know what love is? Come to the Temple of Aphrodite in Salisbury, North Carolina. We'll initiate you real good. We're gonna initiate you. You gotta bend over. We'll initiate you real good. You ever heard of spiritual teachers who teach through sex? A lot of women think they was taken advantage of. Go to some South American country, some tribal shaman who says, I can enlighten you through sex. You just gotta bend over. And the women say, all right, I'll bend over for you. And they take it. And they don't find enlightenment. Imagine that. And the men say, it's your fault. You couldn't receive me. You were not yielding enough. If you want to be enlightened, you have to be yielding. Stop fighting it. That's what God is saying. That's what Aphrodite is saying. I'm trying to put my penis inside you. My woman penis. I'm trying to put it inside you. But you keep fighting me. You keep fighting me. Just stop fighting. Be yielding. And your life will be like love making. Your whole life will be love making every day. You'll just be like, God is making love to me every day. It's like, oh my God. Is that what enlightenment is like? Is that what it's like to be one with my goddess, my Aphrodite? My midnight Aphrodite. Where did that come from? Salisbury, you're going to get my woman penis. You're going to get my woman penis, Salisbury. This is what Aphrodite is saying to you right now. Aphrodite is saying, you're going to get my woman penis. And that's how I'm going to slay the dragon. I'm going to slay the dragon in Salisbury, North Carolina by giving Salisbury my woman penis. And building my temple. Whether people see the temple or not. You believe that? You believe that? I can build the temple without actually using any bricks or anything? I'll be a cult leader. I walk in the food line and people say, there's that cult leader, that Tranny cult leader in her goddamn religion to Aphrodite. She thinks she knows what love is. And I'll just be like, I'm your real mother. Aphrodite sent me here to be your real mother. And I'm going to give you my mother love bone. And initiate you into the religion of Aphrodite. You think that's how priests did it in the past? You think priests in the past, in ancient times, like in ancient Rome and Babylon, you think they fucked their children? I don't mean their offspring. I mean the students. The people they was the parents over. You know how in Christianity they called the preacher father? Or they called the nun's mother or sister, Mother Mary? But God is your parent, right? But is God not also your lover? If God had a penis, would you not want God to give you his penis? Say, God, give me your penis. Please put it in my mouth. I want to feel it all the way down, as far as down my throat as I can. I want to feel my lips up against your pube hairs. And just feel that fat cock just swollen in my throat. Is that what you would say to God? Is that what you would say? Is that how I'm going to slay the dragon in Salisbury? Wouldn't that be crazy? Would that not be crazy? Maybe I'll slay the dragon. No one will ever know. Maybe I'll slay it and then I'll just go on my merry way. People will say, that fellow over there looks a little bit different. He looks like maybe he slayed the dragon or something, but I can't really tell. He seems like he's got more confidence, a bit more energy and pep in his step and that sort of thing. He seems like he's doing all right. Not quite as burdened and oppressed as he was before. And that, it'll be like, what's that movie? Ascending, Jupiter Ascending. That crappy movie that was made by the people who made The Matrix. Thought they was going to remake The Matrix. And do a different story. About a girl who discovers she's queen of the universe. But then goes on with her stupid old life as what was she, a janitor? A housekeeper? Something like that. So she starts off as a housekeeper. Discovers she's queen of the universe and goes back to being a housekeeper. Knowing that all the while that she is queen of the universe. Because that's what the queen of the universe does. Right? Like Jesus, he was the son of God, but he was a homeless bum. Walked around and talked to people. Never had a home of his own. Just kept wandering. Finding people to follow him. Just kept on wandering. Wandered all over the countryside. If I did that here, people would say I was a weirdo. If I did that in Salisbury right now, people wouldn't say, hey, there goes Jesus. They'd say, hey, that person's a weirdo. He don't even have a home. I could do it in my van. I could just live in my van, and people say that weirdo lives in his van. Got people following him. Think that talks to them about love, hermaphrodites and stuff. Mother love bones and woman penis and all that stuff. What kind of creep is that? That's what they'd say. Would they say that? Or would they say, there goes Jesus? That's Jesus right there. That fella right there is Jesus. We're all going to follow him. Every one of us, we're going to follow him. He's going to take us to the promised land. Confronting Salisbury. How am I going to win this battle? How am I going to win this battle? What is my battle? What is my battle? Who do I have to fight? Do I have to fight Darth Vader? What? Do I have to go find Darth Vader? Do I need to go build my lightsaber? Do I need to build my own lightsaber and then go fight Darth Vader? Or do I need to save Darth Vader like Luke Skywalker? He saved his father. He didn't beat him. He saved him. Maybe I need to save Salisbury, the town that I hate. The town that is my enemy. The town that I see as my oppressor. I need to save it. I need to see the good in it. Is that what I need? I need to see the good in Salisbury so I can save it. So I can say, I won't have to fight it no more. Maybe Salisbury is saying that to me. Maybe Salisbury is saying, hey, stop fighting. Just take it. Just be yielding and take it. And you'll be like a wife having sex with her husband who loves it. Just loves it. She just loves it so much. She's like, yes, yes, yes. Just non-stop yes. Just non-stop until she's just woohoo and screaming and crying and all at the same time. That's what Salisbury is saying to me. Is that what's happening? Is that what the real Luke Skywalker does? He yields. He yields. He spreads his legs wide open and just says, come give it to me, daddy. Come give it to me. All right. Sayonara.